Hey, welcome to Steck Equipment. I'm Eric Norris, shop foreman here at Steck. We're gonna follow me around for today. Just do a day of the life of the shop. Focus mainly on some services, oil changes today. It's 9 o'clock now. We just got started early this morning. We had a container GKB come in, so we had to unload several pieces of equipment, get them stacked, processed. So we're getting a little late start, but just follow me, we'll get started. All right, we got here a CK35. We got a 50-hour service on it. So 50-hour service will include your engine oil filter, engine oil, your hydrostat filters. This is a hydrostat, so it'll have 2 filters. We'll check your belt tensions, check clutch free play, brake free play, grease, just give it a good once over, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. And air filter, fuel filter, we'll check those, but we won't replace them unless they're real bad. And that's about it. So I always take my dipstick caps off prior to removing fluids. That way if I get pulled off to another job, might not come back to it for 40, 30 minutes, I won't never forget to refill and check my fluid levels before I pull my tractor out or start it up. So we got that out. Let's get some drain pan. Put a little gloves on. You know, a little oil here and there ain't gonna hurt you, but when you saturate it for days on end, every day, probably ain't gonna be good for 30 years. All right, engine oil filter. This thing should never be this tight, but when you put the new one on, you're just gonna put it on, snug it up. Once you get it snug, quarter turn should be sufficient. So just loosen that up right this second. Pull these 2 drain plugs out. So we got our oil drainer. Slide our little bucket over. So you got 2 drain plugs. It's important you pull both drain plugs. If you just pull one, you're only gonna get half your oil out. So when you unbox your filter, it's important to apply a small film of oil, grease around it. Helps it when it seals, keeps it from sticking when you get ready to pull it off. So the old O-ring's off. No dirt, no contamination, good. Let's install it back on. When you get it snug, just turn it a quarter turn. That's all you need. Let's check our front axle differential fluid while we're waiting. You want to make sure you have your washer on there. Both of them has one. I put the wrong one on. Should have been leaking. Install these on. Let's consult your owner's manual for the proper torque specifications for your oil plug. While we're under here, we're always looking at pretty much everything. Looking at linkages, make sure your pins are in the right location, make sure none of your rods are bent. Tractor's 40, 50 hours. Not usually that bad, but if you get a tractor with 200 or 300 hours, they got sticks and limbs and debris, so you're liable to have holes, bent rods, pins missing. So we're always checking to see if any of that's missing the So this one has cruise control, so we're checking the gap on it. Should be 2 to 3 millimeters. It's good, springs are good. CK don't have any lubrication points on the linkages here. Some of the bigger models do have them. That's why I brought the old grease gun under here. So while I'm under here, I'll go ahead and grease these points. Get on there. Alrighty, next we'll move back. We'll replace the hydrostat pedal and steering gear filter, and then we got the hydraulic filter on this side. So we'll go ahead and attempt to break these loose while we're under here. And you're gonna lose some fluid on this when you pull it out, so just take your time, don't get nervous. Pull it off, put the new one on. When you pull it off, you're gonna verify your seal is with the old filter when you pull it out. If it sticks to the actual casing, you need to remove that before you put the new filter on. Working at a little awkward angle here so you can see what we're doing. But so when we pull this off, again, you're gonna confirm your seal's still in there, not made it to the block. And if you do leave both O-rings on there, you'll know pretty quick when it dumps all 20 gallons out in your front yard. Alrighty, so we got our engine oil changed. Engine oil filter, hydrostat filters. I'll take our alternator bolt loose here. That'll lay you loose, so you want to check your belt tension. I don't know if you come around this side here. When you apply force to your belt here, it should only deflect about 1/4 inch in a foot span. So from here to here is a foot, it should only go down about a foot. So you want to tension this back, hold it snug until you got about 1/4 inch of tension there. They will wear and break in, so it's important to do this on the 50-hour service. Because the belt's not turning, your tractor's not cooling, and your battery's not charging. So as you can see there, got about 1/4 inch. That's what you want. We'll take our air filter out. It's not required on a 50-hour service to replace it, but we still want to check it. See a little dust, a little dirt's fine. Usually tapping on the floor here. No dirt's coming out, so she's good to go. Everything's ready. We'll just reinstall it. So you want to mash your brake, apply about 8 pounds of force to your brake. Like right there is where you actually get force. So from this point to this point, you want about 20 to 30 millimeters of distance, which that's pretty close there. So if it travels way down here, then you'd want to adjust your brake free play. That'll be on this knob here, and this knob here, you'd have to adjust it. This one's good. If your tractor does have a clutch, it'll be on this side. You do the same thing. You want to measure the free play in it. That's the amount of movement it travels before applying about 8 pounds of force. So this one's actually good. And we're looking at knob, buttons, everything, just checking this tractor over real good as we go. Here at Steck Equipment, when we do the assembly of the tractors, we actually torque all your wheels, bolts, paint mark. So these have paint marks that lines up with the actual lug nut. You can see it better on the front up here, Will. So the paint mark that lines up with your lug nut and your rim. So if that paint mark's not lined up, then obviously that bolt's came loose, or you want to check the torque on it. So as we walk around, if it doesn't have a paint mark, we actually torque it, check the torque on the wheels, check the tire pressure. But these here, having the paint marks makes it a lot easier. So customers can walk around, look at their loader bolts, look at their lug nuts. Hey, I'm good to go, or no, I need to spend 30 minutes checking it. So just a little extra we do here at Steck Equipment, make sure the customer's satisfied with the life of his tractor. We're gonna look at the screen here. Make sure there's no debris, no hay, grass, anything in here. If there is, we'll blow it out, clean this tractor up. Anytime you get grass, debris in here, you want to blow it from the inside out first. So put your air nozzle in this side, spray it, push it all this way, clean it out, whatever you can get, and then you can rinse it off if you need. But when you're rinsing it, you want to make sure water flows all the way through the radiator. If you're just putting water on the front side of it, you're just making a mud pie and it's not flowing anywhere. When it dries, you're worse off than you was. So if you ever rinse them off, put your hose pipe in, make sure water comes out the other side. Looking at our coolant level, it's good on here. You don't want to ever fill this thing completely full. As the radiator gets hot, engine gets hot, coolant flows out the overflow tube. This is your overflow, and it builds up in here. The engine cools back off, it sucks it back into the radiator. So if you fill this thing slam full, when your engine starts getting hot, of course it's gonna flow out this tube and you're gonna think, my engine's leaking. So you wanna make sure that it stays in between the low and the full level, which it is. Fuel filter, it's not required on 50-hour service, but you'll look at the quality of your fuel. If you got any debris or contaminants in here running around, floating around, you can unscrew this black portion. It'll run out till you get all the water out. Any kind of debris, tighten it back down. If that thing's got a lot of debris in it, you want to go ahead and change that before the service requirements, but that fuel looks pretty good. So at this point, we'll just refill the engine oil, run it, check the hydraulic fluid, top it off, grease it up, and we're ready to roll. Another satisfied customer here at Steck Equipment.